She said we can in and out. It's all day thing. A ticket.
Yeah. New York. Yeah, so they were all militias from different states that came together to fight. So everybody had their own, they all had blue jackets, yeah, but they all had different buttons and belt buckles and
German forces with a larger movement focused on stopping the expansion of slavery. In 1854, this coalition gave birth to the Republican Party. Its defining mission: to stop the expansion of slavery into the West. Abraham Lincoln. Pro-slavery factions railed against Lincoln, believing his true name was the all land was a country that remained independent of bondage. The United States Constitution
You can see there's someone on the cover of Kansas. How Kansas today.
They demand the abolition of Negro slavery throughout the Confederacy, the recognition of political equality between the white and Negro races. I have said that the hour of conciliation is past. It may return, but not tomorrow or next week. It will return without terror. By what standard do they measure?
That is 130,000 men, is leading to 65,000 troops. At Chancellorsville, he won the absence of his daring victory. He divided his forces and ordered Stonewall Jackson and his troops to sweep around the Union front. McDowell's army gave way, and the Union retreat soon collapsed into a panicky, humiliating race back to Washington, D.C. The nation had its first bitter taste of civil war, and the battle decided nothing. Neither side risked another major battle for several months. But in February 1862, Union General Ulysses S. Grant captured Fort Henry on the Tennessee River, nearby Fort Donelson, and some 14,000 Confederate prisoners. 2 months later, General Albert Sidney Johnston and 45,000 Confederates struck back in a surprise attack against Grant's army, camped near a quaint country church called Shiloh. Union reinforcements arrived overnight. By the end of the second day, Grant had another victory. But the battle cost the two armies some 24,000 casualties. The scenes on this field broke one soldier would have cured anyone in the war. The same month, the Union naval expedition ran past the fort's defending approaches to New Orleans, captured the South's largest city, and dealt another stunning blow to the Confederacy. After the defeated Manassas, President Lincoln had gracefully bell and General George B. McClellan. In spring 1862, McClellan began a campaign to capture Richmond. He planned to transport the entire Union Army of the Potomac down Chesapeake Bay, Virginia Peninsula, and attack Richmond from the east. The problems beset McClellan's grand campaign away each other, sometimes only 30 yards apart, but neither inflicted any critical damage. The first encounter between Union fighters continues to live in the fearful that Jackson might threaten Washington, the president and the forces by the end of May, the Army of the Potomac was 10 miles. Confederate General Joe Johnson was wounded and fled to Richmond.
Well, you can't have that happen.
Commander, Robert E. Lee. In his first major command, he directed the largest army of his career, some 90,000 men. On June 26th, at Mechanicsville, he struck. The 7 days got us off, including flashes of game of war, 23,000 casualties, and neither side on a clear victory. Lee's army limped back to Virginia. McClellan claimed that his men needed rest and supplies, and refused to pursue Lee for weeks. First Great Legion replacing Virginia. One soldier said, "No man, I think, can see the end with any satisfaction."
That was horrible. And then I was like,
John Reynolds rides onto the field just ahead of a division of the First Corps. Reynolds, the ranking officer on the field, makes a bold and momentous decision to force the battle here, west of town, in order to maintain control of the road network. Within minutes, Reynolds is dead. Through another hour of fierce fighting with massive casualties on both sides, The Union line holds. The road network remains open for coming reinforcements. To step off from Warfield and Seminary Ridges to attack Sickles' forces. Union forces mount Little Round Top just moments before the Confederates attack and fight off repeated assaults. The Confederates seize Devil's Den, but at heavy cost. The gorge at the base of the rocks will live in history as the slaughter pen. A wheat field on Rose's farm changes hands 4 times in 2 hours. The combat leaves 4,000 casualties in its wake. Confederates crush Sickles' line at Sherby's Peach Orchard, unhinging his entire line and causing its collapse. He launches infantry assaults on Culp's Hill and Cemetery Hill. On the west side of Cemetery Hill, the Union position is too formidable, and Ewell aborts the attack. On the east, Confederates penetrate to the summit, but Union forces drive them back in deadly hand-to-hand combat. At Culp's Hill, Confederates outnumber Union troops 3-1. They fight into the night. With the advantages of higher ground and entrenchments, Union troops hold out, but the Confederates gain a foothold on the hill. General Gouverneur K. Warren spots the danger and immediately calls for reinforcements to occupy Little Round Top. General Meade also rushes reinforcements to Sickles' exposed position. At 4 p.m., Longstreet's infantry begins to step off Culp's Hill. The infantries engage. After 7 hours of fighting and heavy losses, the Confederates retreat. By 11, about a quarter-mile out, they speed their step to the double quick, then break into a full running charge directly into murderous Union fire. Several hundred Confederates pierce the Union line, but Union soldiers overwhelm them. The Confederates are stopped. In just under an hour, one of the largest infantry charges of the war is over. The Confederates are in retreat. Nearly 6,000 are dead, wounded, or captured. General Lee's gamble has failed.
Conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who have
Positions in Franklin and Nashville, Tennessee. Sherman headed southeast out of Atlanta on November 14th with 60,000 of his most experienced soldiers. His goal was to end the Confederacy's ability to wage war, so his troops lived off the land and destroyed everything that might lead the war effort. On December 21st, he reached the sea and captured Savannah, Georgia. Then in January, Sherman turned his army north toward Columbia, South.
Fueled opposition to the administration. Violent threats and attacks increased, and the old condition in virtually every sector of commercial and public life. In the South, this became a comprehensive legal system known by the name Jim Crow. In 1896, the United States Supreme Court desegregation
Yeah, I need to go have a good cry.